This is the most delicious pasta dish I have made in an incredibly long time, and I know you're gonna love it. I'm Justin from Cooking with Coit. I specialize in clean comfort cooking. And remember, if you love this video, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get started. Let's first go over all the ingredients you need to make this recipe. Shrimp, pasta, chicken broth, coconut milk, unsweetened, lemon juice, onion, garlic, tomato paste, red bell pepper flakes, spinach, and salt and pepper. All right, guys, I am so excited to show you this recipe today. It is so incredibly delicious and of course so easy to make, and it's the first time I've ever combined coconut milk with pasta. It's not something that I thought was possible. I didn't think the flavors would meld, but it comes out beautifully. So we're gonna start with our shrimp. That's the first thing we're gonna do. We are going to season our shrimp, 1 teaspoon of salt, followed by a half a teaspoon of black pepper. And I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil to the shrimp too. Let's give this a nice mix until everything is very well combined and you see that the shrimp are very well coated with the salt and pepper. Now, one very important part of this recipe is the selection of the shrimp. So a lot of the times in the markets, you're gonna see these little teensy tiny shrimp and they're so weak. It like really bothers me when I see these little like cocktail shrimp. In this recipe, you wanna use as big a shrimp as you can possibly find. Find that like jumbo, super jumbo, large size shrimp, and honestly, it's worth the extra cost. Sometimes you're looking at the shrimps and you're like, oh, that big one is a little bit more expensive than the small one, but the flavor difference you're gonna get for that little extra money is so much more. One other aspect of cooking with larger shrimp that I really love is that they don't dry out so quickly, and that's because they're thicker. So what you can do is you pop them in a pan, really high heat, and you just give them a nice sear, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but these large shrimp are not gonna dry out as fast as those small shrimp would. So again, large shrimp are your friend in this recipe. Now we're gonna set aside the shrimp and we're gonna work on prepping our veggies. Next, we're gonna prep our onions. My recipe calls for a half a cup of onions diced. That's probably gonna be a little bit less than half of an onion of this size. But honestly, a little bit of extra onion won't hurt you, and I'd rather not waste the little extra piece. So let's go ahead and dice up a full half of an onion. Let's mince up 4 cloves of garlic. Next, we need to prep our bell pepper. I chose a red bell pepper only for the reason that I just like the red look in this dish. You can use any color that you want. And let me show you how I cut my bell pepper because it's pretty specific and I think it's a really good way. So take your bell pepper and trim off the stem as much as you can. You just don't want the stem sticking out past the top part here. Then what I do is I flip it upside down. You're gonna see these sort of major sections here, and there's 4. So what I do is I take my knife, I pick the first section that I wanna cut, and then I start making a cut just like this, and I go all the way down. Now you can see where the seeds are in the bell pepper, and you can easily avoid them on your next few cuts. So cut all the way down just like that, and then cut and move your knife around the seeds, and there we go. And then cut just like that, and now you have trimmed your bell pepper without all those annoying seeds going everywhere. From here, what I like to do is trim out a little bit of these kind of like white membranes, just like so. For this recipe, I like really thin strips of bell pepper. So just work your way, always cutting from the inside out. The outside is quite slippery and your knife could slide right off. So I like to cut from the inside out. There's a little bit more grip on the inside of the bell pepper. And just nice, thin, long strips are perfect here. Guys, I have already messed up. It's been like a minute into the video and I completely messed up. The very first thing you should do is to cook your pasta. Cook it according to your package instructions. I'm using DiCecco spaghetti, so I'm just gonna drop it straight into the pot here. I didn't drop it in a very cool way, but whatever, it's in there. This pasta is gonna take about 10 minutes to make, and then I'm gonna drain it right after and set that aside. As a quick reminder, all of the recipes, including the ingredients and all of the instructions, are on my website. To find that link, check the video description below. Next thing we need to do is to cook the shrimp. So for that, I grabbed out a fairly deep pan. This is a wok, and I feel like it's a really good choice for cooking the rest of this recipe. So all you have to do is turn the heat to about medium-high. We wanna cook these shrimp really hot and really fast. So add a little bit of olive oil into your pan. All right, so let's add these shrimp straight into this pan. And we want to hear that sizzle. So the goal here is that we want to sear these shrimp on very high heat. We do not want to cook them all the way through. That's absolutely the worst thing you could do. The reason why is because All we want to do is get these shrimp nice and brown, a little crispy on the outside, but a little bit undercooked on the inside. Then we're going to set them aside and bring them back into the pan later on when we've got our sauce created and have everything finished off then. We only want to cook these shrimp about 1 to 2 minutes per side. Now, what you should do is keep checking the underside of the shrimp, and as soon as you start to see them looking like this, getting nice color, a little bit crispy on the edges, that's when you should flip them all over. So now I'm gonna flip the shrimp over, and I'm just gonna cook them probably another 30 seconds on the other side. Okay, all right. So these shrimp look nice and beautifully brown. Now I'm gonna remove the shrimp from the heat. So we're just gonna let these shrimp hang out on this plate while we're doing the rest of the sauce. Now I'm going to lower my heat way down to probably about a medium heat. Definitely want to get it out of that sort of hot area. You can also just take the pan off the heat for a second. We're just gonna kind of let this pan chill here for a second. When we add the rest of our veggies, we don't want to add them to a super hot pan or else they're gonna burn really quickly. Now I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil. You know, if you've got about 1 tablespoon of oil still in the pan from the shrimp, you don't need to add any more. Mine was looking a little thin. So now I'm gonna grab out my onions, drop them straight into the pan. And I'm also gonna be adding the red bell pepper at the same time. Now let's give these a nice big toss in the pan so the olive oil is coating all of the veggies. We wanna let the onions and bell peppers saute for just about 3 minutes until the onions have become a little bit translucent. So now that these veggies have softened a little bit, I'm gonna add my garlic. And we only want to cook the garlic for just about 30 seconds to a minute until it has become fragrant. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. The tomato paste is going to give this dish an incredible hit of acidity and some really great flavor. So don't skip this ingredient. We've got to add a ½ teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now, if you aren't into spicy stuff, you could either dial these red pepper flakes back or you can skip them entirely, whatever you prefer. If you guys haven't cooked with tomato paste a lot, you really should. You should seek out recipes that use that ingredient because it provides such incredible flavor to whatever you put it in. And it's really easy to work with. It's such a good flavor hack. Next, we're gonna add 1 cup of chicken broth. You could also be using vegetable broth if you prefer that one. Either broth is totally fine. And now we just wanna let this chicken broth kind of infuse into the veggies, and we also wanted to let it cook down just a little bit. So I'd say give it a couple minutes for it to cook down. Maybe at about 1/4 of the way down should be plenty. Next, we're gonna add coconut milk in, 3/4 of a cup. That coconut milk should be unsweetened and also full fat. That's definitely better. And let's just add that right in here. We also need to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And now let's give this a nice mix so it's all well combined. And look how beautiful this sauce is coming out. The next thing we need to do is to grab out our spinach. And if your spinach comes pre-washed, then great, this one does. If not, make sure you give it a wash before you toss it in. I'm going to add 2 handfuls of spinach straight into the pan. Now don't worry if the spinach looks kind of overwhelming in the pan at this point. It is going to cook down very small. So just mix it around into the sauce here. Now I'm gonna turn my heat on the pan to very low. We don't really want to be boiling at this point or anything like that. We just want to keep everything nice and warm. Let's add our shrimp back into the pot here. Now, as you guys know from earlier, we didn't cook our shrimp all the way through, so we wanna nestle these shrimp down into the sauce. And we are going to finish cooking this shrimp in this sauce right now. It's going to infuse all of this great flavor from the coconut milk and the tomato paste, the onions and bell pepper and the garlic. It's gonna infuse that into the shrimp at the very end. It's also gonna heat the shrimp back through, which is gonna make them a lot more pleasant to eat. And finally, we're going to add our pasta back into this pan. And if it's gotten a little bit sticky while it's been setting aside, sorry about that. You could put a little bit of olive oil on it while it's draining, but the downside to that is the oil could coat the spaghetti or the pasta and it could keep the sauce from sticking to it. So it's kind of a bummer. So I prefer not to put any oil on my pasta. And now just give this pasta a nice quick toss in all of these incredible juices and with the shrimp. Now for the next 2 minutes, you just wanna let all these flavors come together. And I promise you, you're gonna be so excited. Just gotta stay patient. Keep giving this a nice mix so the pasta loosens back up. And look how incredible this is looking. Aman, come get a shot of this. This is not only one of the tastiest dishes I've ever made, it is probably one of the most beautiful. This pasta looks so incredible, I cannot wait to give it a try. But before I do, if you love this recipe and you wanna see more just like it, check out my healthy recipes playlist. Okay, let's give it a try. All right, so for the finishing touch on this pasta, I like to add a little bit of fresh chopped parsley. Also gives it a really beautiful color. Let's see how we did. Guys, this red curry pasta with shrimp is so delicious, and as you've seen, it's a really easy recipe, so I truly hope you give it a try. I'll see you guys in the next video.